'tis worse than the Black 44 when they sailed away over the ocean with their dreams and their humble sea store. What a legacy, such a tragedy, thousands are saying goodbye. The land of the eagle is calling as we bid the green island goodbye. It's only 6 hours to Boston, and if you serve your time on the plane, in no time at all you're a chippy, as good as the rest at the game. In Sally O'Brien's we'll be dancing, but we'll go back someday, maybe when the blue moon it hangs over Doris and the river runs up Spancel Hill. What a legacy, such a tragedy, thousands are saying goodbye. The land of the eagle is calling as we bid the green island goodbye. Time to remember the brave men and women who died, whose vision is misrepresented by the shadows who flicker and hide. They dish out their perks and their pensions while the big fella turns in his grave to see the bright diamonds and jewels cast on the cold rest of the wave. What a legacy, such a tragedy, thousands are saying goodbye. One last long look cast behind us as we bid the green island goodbye. As we bid the green island goodbye.
As we gather in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I think about these past few weeks. Oh, will they say we failed? From our school days they have told us we must yearn for liberty. Yet all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these brave men, my love for this dear land. But when Parry called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walk out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I loved so much that I could see his blood upon the road. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Oh, there won't be time to share our love, so we must say goodbye.
They carried me pack, and I lived the free life of the rover. From the Murray's green basin to the dusty outback, I waltzed my Matilda all over. Then in 1915, me country said, son, it's time to stop rambling. There's work to be done. So they gave me a tin hat and they gave me a gun, and they sent me away to the war. And the band played a waltzing Matilda when the ship pulled away from the quay. And amid all the tears, flag waving and cheers, we sailed off for Gallipoli. Oh, it's well I remember that terrible day when our blood stained the sand and the water, and how in that hell they called Suvla Bay We were butchered like lambs at the
It's
slaughter.
breaking, my
Johnny Turk,
heart is
he was ready.
breaking too.
He primed himself well.
On this May
He rained us with
morn, as I
bullets,
walk out,
and he showered us
my
with
thoughts
shells.
will be
And in 5 minutes flat, we were all
and I'll write some words upon the
He nearly blew us
wall so
back home to
everyone
Australia.
will know
And the band
love so
played a
much
waltzing
that I
Matilda.
could see his blood
When we stopped
upon
to bury our slain, well, we buried
Oh,
ours.
praise,
the
just
Turks
hold me
buried
in
theirs.
your arms and let
Then it
this
started
moment
all
linger.
over again.
They'll take me out
Oh,
to
those
dawn,
that were living
and I will
just tried to
die.
survive in that mad world of blood,
With
death, and
all
fire.
my love, I'll place
And for
this
10
wedding
weary
ring
I kept
upon
myself
your
alive, while around me
There won't
the
be
corpses
time
piled higher.
to share our love.
Then a big
We
Turkish
must
shell
say
knocked me
goodbye.
arse overhead, and when I awoke
Oh, there won't
in me
be
hospital
time
bed
to
and
share
saw
our
what
love.
it had done, I wished I was dead. I never knew there was a worse thing than dying. Oh, no more I'll go waltzing Matilda all around the green bush, far and near, where the hump tent and pegs, a man needs both legs. No more waltzing Matilda for me. They collected the wounded, the crippled, the maimed, and they shipped us back home to Australia. The armless, the legless, the blind and the insane, those proud wounded heroes of Suvla. And when the ship pulled into Circular Quay, I looked at the place where me legs used to be, and thank Christ there was no one there waiting for me to grieve and to mourn and to pity. And the band played waltzing Matilda when they carried us down the gangway. Oh, nobody cheered, they just stood there and stared. Then they turned all their faces away. Oh, now, every April, I sit on my porch and I watch the parade pass before me. I see my old comrades, how proudly they march, renewing their dreams of past glories. I see the old men, all tired, stiff and worn, those weary old heroes of a forgotten war. And the young people ask, what are they marching for? And I ask myself the same question. And the band plays waltzing Matilda, and the old men still answer the call. But year after year, the numbers get fewer. Someday no one will march there at all. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? And the ghost may be heard as they march by the Billabong. So who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me?
gentlest hand, and I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love well she knows. I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day it soon would come when she could be as one. I go to the Clyde, I moan and grieve, satisfied I never can be. Then I write her a letter, just a few short lines, and someday, a thousand times, black is the color of my love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She's the sweetest smile and the gentlest hand, and I love the ground whereon she stands. Yes, I love the ground whereon she stands.
It was down the glen came McAlpine's men, with their shovels flung behind them. 'Twas in the pub where they drank the sop, it's up in the spike you'll find them. They sweated blood and they washed down mud with pints and quarts of beer. And now we're all on the road again with McAlpine's Fusilier. Sure, I've stripped to the skin with the darky flint, way down upon the Isle of Grain. With horse-face too, well you knew the rule, no money if you stopped for rain. For McAlpine's gun was a well-filled hod, your shoulders cut to bits and seared. And woe to he went to look for tea with McAlpine's Fusiliers. I remember the day when the Bear O'Shea walked into a concrete stairs. Ah, what Horseface said when he saw him dead, well, it wasn't what the rich called for heirs. For Ivan Nabby Short was the one retort that reached unto my ears. When the going gets rough, well, you must be tough with McAlpine's Fusiliers. I've worked till the sweat, it has had me bent with Russian, Czech and Pole. When shuttering jams up in the hydro dams and underneath the Thames in a hole. Sure, I grafted hard and I've gotten me card and many a ganger's fist across me ear. If you pride your life, don't join by Christ with McAlpine's Fusiliers.
telling me I'm weak. When I'm criticized, I never speak. I prefer to turn the other cheek. But I will love you all my life. I can never do things right by you. I'm the kind of man who muddles through. You can find mistakes in all I do, but I will love you all my life. Something foolish happens and you see, in the middle of it all there's me. Seems I cause you so much misery, but I will love you all my life. All my life, all I own, everything is yours alone. Every day, my whole life through, I'll spend loving you. I can't help myself, I can't let go. Darling, don't you know I love you so? Even though you never care for me, darling, how I wish that you could see that I will love you all my life. All my life, all I own, everything is yours alone. Every day, my whole life through, I'll spend loving you. All my life, all I own,
In the village of Kildorrery, there's a maiden young and fair. Her eyes they shine like diamonds, she has long and golden hair. When the countryman comes riding up to her father's gate, mounted on the milk-white stallion, he comes at the stroke of 8. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter, step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter, show your legs to the countryman. I have come to court your daughter, Mary of the golden hair. I have gold and I have silver, I have goods beyond compare. I will buy her silk and satin, and a gold ring for her hand. I will buy for her a mansion, she'll have servants to command. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter, step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter, show your legs to the countryman. Your gold and silver, I will want your house and land. I am going with a soldier, I have promised him my hand. But the father spoke up sharply, you will do as you are told. You get married on a Sunday, and you'll wear the ring of gold. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Show your legs to the countryman. In the village of Kildorrery, there's a deep stream running by. You'll find Mary there at midnight, and she's down with a soldier boy. In the cottage there is music, you can hear her father say, step it out, Mary, my fine daughter, Sunday is your wedding day. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Show your legs to the countryman. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Show your legs to the countryman. Show your legs to the countryman. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Show your legs to the countryman. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Step it out, Mary, if you can. Step it out, Mary, my fine daughter. Show your legs to the countryman. Show your legs to the countryman. Show your legs to the countryman. Show your legs to the countryman.
I saw you on the village green. Come to me in my dreams of love alone. I love you as I loved you, but you were sweet when you were
the trials and troubles of his travelling people's clan. He's a loser, a boozer, a me and you user, a raider, a traitor, a people police hater, so lonely and lonely, what you'd call a courier. Still now, Danny Farrell, he's a man. I knew Danny Farrell when he joined the national school. He was lousy at the Gaelic, they called him Amadon, a fool. He was brilliant in the toss school, or trading objects in the pawn. By the time he was an adult, all his charming ways had gone. I knew Danny Farrell when we queued up for the dole, and he tried to hide the loss of pride that eats away the soul. But mending pots and kettles is a trade lost in the past. There's no handouts here for takers, was the answer when he asked. He's a loser, a boozer, a me and you user, a raider, a traitor, a people police hater, so lonely and lonely, what you'd call a courier. Still now, Danny Farrell, he's a man. Oh, I still know Danny Farrell, saw him just there yesterday, drinking methylated spirits with some winos on the quay. Oh, he's 40 going on 80, with his eyes of hope bereft, and he told me this for certain, there's not many of us left. He's a loser, a boozer, a me and you user, a raider, a traitor, a people police hater, so lonely and lonely, what you'd call a courier. Still now, Danny Farrell, he's a man.
Lands turn to golden hue, and the harvest moons aglow. To hear again of days long past, to come no more, I know. When I mowed Pat Murphy's meadow in the sunny long ago, I see again the ocean, the distant sails far, as a maiden in the meadow strikes up dark love cigar. There was music soft and tender in the winds that whispered low. Pat Murphy's meadow, the sunny long ago. Where are the happy boys and girls that danced the gay quadrille, or the singer that warbled sweetly the burning granite? To hear again that sunset where sweet Afton waters flow. When I'm old at Murphy's Meadow in the sunny long ago. Those days are golden memories, like the snows of yesteryear. And when evening shades are falling all alone, I shed a tear. On my cheek I feel the soft touch of the winds that whisper low. When I'm old at Murphy's Meadow in the sunny long ago.
I was born and reared in Boston, a place you all know well. Brought up by honest parents, the truth to you I'll tell. Brought up by honest parents and reared most tenderly, till I became a sporting lad at the age of 23. My character was taken and I was sent to jail. My friends, they came, they tried in vain to get me out on bail. The jury found me guilty. The clerk, he wrote it down. For the
Hey! Come on over. Everything about Christmas feels cute, and it's so cozy.
What's the best thing about the holidays?
I'm just so excited to get in the kitchen and bake. It's all about the sweets. It's time. Let's do this. We have coffee on the table, and we might go until 2 or 3 in the morning. I guess my guests are here. And I'm not kicking you out. You can stay. Cameras have to leave, because things are gonna get a little rowdy.
and coaching is fine. For one crime or another, he is bound for Charles time. On you that have your freedom, take warning if you can, and don't go round streets at night, breaking laws of God or man. For if
This is what happens to my plans. Freaking hash games.
and find yourself like me, serving up to 20 in the penitentiary.
This is
Serving up to 20 years in the penitentiary.
Tony G is sure to join the party with Ace Queen, but he just limps in. Suited connectors for Helmuth.
Could be reactions like loving days of Tony G.
Lovebirds are together again as Helmuth calls. 877 on the flop, a full house for Phil.
Let's not forget Phil Lund is also flopping over at a straight draw.
Check by Brunson. Lock bets 1,400.
It'll be bad news for Locke if he somehow gets there.
Tony G folds. He's still in a full house. He raise.
Helmuth's trying to build a pot here. Everything's one free flop, so no one's likely to have an over pair of these boards. So Phil is beating the bring, someone else is letting the seven. Otherwise, there's a good chance he'll chase away all of his action with this big of a raise. I'll take this one. You will.
Action is folded around and locked. Folds as well.
Turn one off. Let's see what he does.
Can we rather turn that?
With the wind and the rain and the hail blow high and the dog come travel low. through the sky. Jesus,
What we got there from Phil Hellmuth,
she'll get her own
applause.
by and by. When she gets settled on her own, she won't tell them how when she gets home. Let them all come as they
If
will.
Club had come like 996 instead of 778, I would
Flop the full house. Why? Thinking about making a move here. I raised the pot.
Loose cannon. Ooh, Eric Cowboy.
If there's ever a time to re-raise, this is it.
kill 6.
But just a call.
We had some cannon action over here. Ernest just called 12,000 cold. Should be sending smoke signals into the sky. I love these big bumps. Very loose call from Doyle.
Tony calls.
Sick hands. 4 ways. I'm not even anymore in 8 spots, so it's like a free roll. It's the danger of smooth calling with kings. Ernest has led 3 other players into this pot.
The flop 9-10, 9 trip 9s for Hellmuth.
Phil has flopped the Hellmuth out of it. Our loose cannon Ernest is in big trouble if he can't get away from this. And honestly, Chris, I don't see how he'll be able to.
Tony G is checked on over to Phil Hellmuth.
That flop looks like you, doesn't it?
No, Phil, I look like me.
Ernest is very confident.
17,000.
Phil bet 17,000.
You look like me, why you bet so much?
Ernest is actually asking the right question, but isn't looking for an answer. All I can see are those 2 kings.
I remember the day it stands clear in my
36,000.
mind. We stood down at the
I love you, Ernest.
Doyle folds. Tony G's out.
Wow. This is almost certainly disaster for our loose cannon.
What are you gonna do if I'm moving? You gonna call?
Of course I have no choice but to, my brother.
You got aces or kings or nothing or what?
If I had aces or kings, man, I'd be
This is why this show's so fun.
Boy, oh boy, I don't think I have a choice here. This is so sick. Alright, I guess I'm all in.
I call kings.
I got 3 nines.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
What were you slow rolling for? Maybe a 10 slow. I mean, he was so happy. That was so torture. I didn't mean to slow roll. Hold on, how many times do you want to deal it?
Oh, hey, thanks for asking.
3 times?
Yeah, that's it. Huh?
3 times?
Yeah, 1 and 3.
3 times.
3 times. Yeah, that'll work. Wow, you straddled and everything. That was perfect. The sun much before the flop the last night.
Our loose cannon has 1 foot out the door.
You want to deal it 4 times?
When you asked him if you were going to call if I go all in and he said yes, what percentage of you didn't believe that he was giving straight dope there with that little bit left? Wasn't it like
That's no more slow roll.
when you know he's going to call because he says it?
Hey, Phil Lock, why don't you just stay out of it? Why don't you stay out of it?
Because I'm right here like that's dope.
You've been so far on the line to me, and every time we play, and I'm just sick of it. So why don't you just mind your business?
But he's right. This is a pretty sick story.
I'm sorry, because I haven't done anything like that in my whole life.
Were you folding? I can't get away from this. The whole speech. The guy's already in.
He's already got 80%.
Inside.
50,000 more. Did he have 50,000 more? You want to? I'll bet you at least 40,000 more. You want to bet?
6,000.
I'll bet you at 40 more before you count.
How many ever have that beat?
You want to deal it 4 times or what?
4 times?
Yeah, gives you a better chance to win. All right, 4 times.
4 times, need 2 kings.
So we'll see the turn and river 4 times with each pot worth a shade under 50 grand. Run number 1, a jack of hearts.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this first. Watch this. I can show you how to get the sweetest deals online when you shop from major retailers like Amazon and Target. You can drop prices automatically. I can show you how. but I can't do it for you. People are saving real money doing this. $160 million in the last year. Across thousands of different retailers, you'll immediately see this. See what I mean? You'll see better prices you had no idea existed. And you don't even have to ask. They just show up automatically. Download this free tool that'll give you access to the deals. Just click, click. Done. That's it. Simple. It takes all of 10 seconds, and there's no need to enter any personal information. There's no technical mumbo jumbo. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? It takes less than 30 seconds to start saving. And this is all 100% free.
In cruel Kilmainham jail, all the way from Butterfield Lane. And Devlin was her name, a friend to Robert Emmet. She served his cause in vain. Low, lie low, Liffey, keep on flowing. Low, lie low, and your legend's growing. A torture or a bribe could sway Anne Devlin's purpose.
You're not ready for it.
3 years of living hell in solitary shame. How brave Emmet met his fate on the scaffold of his tyrant.
You're in the middle of this beautiful sci-fi environment. And you're seeing intrigue, the espionage, the alliances formed. The power that shifts around it. It's amazing to watch.
Simple actions can have massive effects.
You can cooperate with people, compete with them, make friendships, deceive them, betray them.
It's amazing to think that it's just other players.
More players start coming. It just starts this complete cascade of actions, and you don't know what's going to happen.
It's a free-for-all. You get locked up and shot instantly. People start dying left, right, and centre. It's just something that you can't get anywhere else. It's just rough like a rock.
Everybody's on this journey of writing their own stories, and that is probably the simplest way I can describe it.
Things continue to change in the fall. It's awesome. I love it. Part of it.
Keep on flowing. Low, lie low, and your legend's growing.
The River and Ace of Diamonds. Round 1 goes to Hellmute.
Phil Hellmuth is filled up and made a full house. He's locked up at least 25% of this pot.
Run 2. The turn, a king.
There we go. Full house. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get me damn.
If you ran it twice, you got money back.
Damn. Yo, damn, I said 4 times though. Damn, didn't I? Holy snap. I gotta stand back up now. I thought it was only twice. Come on.
The River's a 3.
15% dog. Ernest has won the second pot.
That's cool. I'm to do it right now.
You're still alive. You're still alive.
Our loose cannon will stick around. Round 3, a 7 of spades.
Everybody's rooting for a spade. You can now hit a king or a spade to win this run.
The River, it is a spade.
Damn spade, up to 1. That's the loose cannon. He's up 2 to 1.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and freedom of creation. Being able to integrate and change and develop at my own pace.
In night football, they dismantled the New England Patriots. And then 24 hours later, we got the first playoff game in 29 years here as the Royals take the field on a great night for baseball here in Kansas City. The batting order is brought to you by Budweiser. Coco Crisp leads it off for the A's, followed by Sam Full and left. Josh Donaldson, the big bat hitting third. Brandon Moss is the cleanup hitter. As Cal said, Josh Reddick's been hot. He's in the 5-hole. Then it's Jed Lowry. Stephen Vogt plays first. Giovanni Soto is behind the plate, and Eric Sogard is the second baseman. Only two right-handed hitters going up against the right-hander James Shields tonight.
James Shields, 32 years old. His career record is 114-90. His postseason mark, more important, 7 career starts at 2-4 with a 4.98 ERA.
Let's take a look at that Kansas City defense there, Iron Man.
Yeah, here's the guys with the gloves. Gordon's in left, Gold Glove winner. Kane's in center. Aoki's in right. Moving to the infield. We have Escobar and Infante up the middle. Mike Moustakas and the Gold Glove winner Eric Hosmer at first base. Behind the plate we have Salvador Perez. And on the mound, big game, James.
Here's the umpiring crew for this American League wild card game. Bill Miller calls the balls and strikes. The crew chief is Jerry Davis at first. Dan Isonia at second. Bill Welke at third. And of course, being a playoff game, you add umpires down the lines. James Hoy in his 7th year patrolling the left field line, and Todd Kitchener down the right field line.
If your legal team is still using old school manual processes to do their work,
your day probably looks something.
Lane's line overhead during batting practice said it's been worth the wait. And this is not unlike what we encountered a year ago when we did the wild card game of the National League side in Pittsburgh. And that place was off the charts. Same story here at the K, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City.
Now, I don't know if everyone will agree it was worth the wait, but I'll tell you, this crowd is as loud as it was in Pittsburgh. James Shields has the best changeup in right-handed changeup in baseball. Just has a great motion. You'll see a lot of that pitch tonight.
The small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing. We had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of that ride.
That's down low. And the count even a ball and a strike.
After seeing big game James pitch all these years, I'd say the percentages are a little higher on that changeup, because when he gets in trouble, that's the pitch he goes to.
Young man calling. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free.
Regular season baseball and postseason baseball.
Against the famine and the crown, I rebel, they cut me down. Now you must raise our child with dignity.
You know, you spend your entire 6 months, 162 games, trying to be the best you can be over that time. And then you get here, every pitch counts, every hit counts, every ball caught counts, every decision by a manager counts.
The intensity is way up. You get ready. Obviously in the season, but it's not nearly as exhausting in the playoffs. It's like you're ready.
We had dreams and songs
left
to
and right,
sing.
and
it's so lonely round the fields of that ride.
I imagine game time couldn't come soon enough. Well, they can wait through the day for this to happen.
Yeah, the hardest part was the nerves that build up before the game starts. But once you get out there, once you get your first ground ball, once you get into the game, then it becomes the same.
Payoff pitch to the A's leadoff hitter. Slapped into left field, and Coco Crisp is on with a single.
A lot of these Tigers, you see this high fastball from Shields, got into a 3-2 count. That's what this Oakland A's team does best, and did best over the first 4 months of the season. They will work the starting pitcher, get deep into the pitch count.
Chris has 19 stolen bases and 24 tries.
Much has been said about the lack of offense. Cespedes got traded. They're big presence, but they're still a good offensive team. And they started to get a point in the month of September last week in particular.
Sam Folds, number 2 hitter, took a strike 0-1.
Bob Melvin said he was in the lineup. He thought of Adam Dunn and all that power, but expansive outfield here in Kansas City. You need the defensive full.
Where once we watched the small free birds fly.
And defense would be the difference in the game.
Mike Gallegos, the third base coach, one of the best defensive infielders you ever saw during his time.
Songs to sing.
This is probably
so
the last
lonely
place Sam Folds
round the fields of
earlier this season. He began the year with the A's, but only played 7 games. Say he checked his swing. That's Bill Welke down at third. So he began the year with Oakland, and then claimed off waivers by the Minnesota Twins, and then traded at the deadline back to Oakland, and he finds himself in the playoffs.
Yeah, pitcher's perspective, you think he went, right, Ronnie?
Always.
Hitter's perspective, I think he kind of held up. Didn't really make an attempt and break his wrist. Even though the bat is out there around the plate, I still think that's really the indication that he swung at. He held up.
We got a 2-1 count. Bob Melvin said they probably wouldn't steal a lot, but they might hit and run, even though he thinks it's only about a 30% success rate with the hit and run.
Chris with the lead at first. And Full goes the opposite way. Alex Gordon back and makes the play. Gordon, a converted third baseman who's won 3 Gold Gloves as an outfielder, and made that one look easy as he had to go back.
Generally speaking, if a guy can have a really good changeup, he likes to pitch the guys that can hit the ball out more fun. They're going to start the bat earlier. Changeup can. If you get hitters that are content hitting the ball the opposite field, that changeup becomes less effective.
Outfield defense in Kansas City will play a big part in this game. Kane and Gordon can go get it.
Now here's Josh Donaldson. Leads the A's in hits, home runs, and runs batted in.
My father founded St. Jude Children's Research Hospital because he believed no child should die in the dawn of life. In 1984, a patient named Stacy arrived, and it began her family's touching story that is still going on today.
Childhood cancer. It's just hard. Stacy passed on Christmas Day of 1986. There is no pain like losing a child, but St. Jude gave us more years to love on her.
This little man generates just about as much bat speed as anyone in the game. He's playing with a banged up left knee that he fell on, but at this time of year, Bob Melvin ran down his list of guys hurt on his team. It seemed like the whole roster, everybody had his something.
It's safe. Everybody does have something. I tell you what, in the playoffs, change in weather a little bit, although we're not experiencing it here, and the adrenaline really takes all the pain away.
Shields jumps ahead. No balls and 2 strikes.
Sometimes you get ahead of a hit of 0-2 and you say advantage pitcher. Both those swings, Donaldson was on both of those pitches. Said about Salvador Perez, he said behind the plate he's like a big pillow. Nothing ever gets away from him. He just wants that big body of his and gets down and just smothers the baseball, keeps it in front of him. Johan Santana in his day, that changeup that can put a hitter away, righty or lefty.
First strikeout for Shields and the second out of the inning.
That was his changeup. He tried to get him to chase in the dirt on it. Got to a count at 2-2. Came right back and crippled up on it.
So righty on righty, Cal. 3 changeups in a row. How many times do you see that? Very, very rarely. Change in speed. Donaldson's back. Hand off the bat.
Still at first is the cleanup hitter, Brandon Moss. And he takes a strike away. Moss would appear to be the guy most affected in the Oakland lineup by the trade of Yoenis Cespedes. His power numbers dropped tremendously after the trade. And this ball's well hit to right, and you can forget about it. He adds to the power numbers there into the seats over the bullpen, and it's 2-0.
Set the night on fire. I smelt the spring on the smoky wind. Dirty old town.
Since the trade of Yoenis Cespedes.
That's one of those change-ups that just stay right over the middle of the plate. You got all of it. Looked like they were starting to pitch him in, cutter, and then try to come back with a change-up.
I'm never a big believer in change-ups the first time through the lineup, because what are you changing off of? Nothing. He had thrown one cutter inside, straight to the change-up, maybe a little too hard. Moss took care of it.
That's very true. A hitter that has to first respect the fastball, and if he's just looking for the baseball, sometimes the change-up will be perceived as a fastball.
Tape measure shot by Brandon Moss, and here is Josh Reddick.
I think with Big James, though, no sort of moves about the window because the change-up is successful.
Reddick's got good numbers, career against Shields, 318 with 3 home runs.
Dirty old town.
Yes, that will put a smile on your face. Your first AB, post 2014. That's Reddick's bomb earlier this year.
A big sharp man.
2 of them in the same game. Went up there looking for a fastball.
Shining steel.
Posited that one out as well.
Tempered in the fire.
To left.
I'm chopping
right there in his tracks. But the Oakland A's, the last team to clinch a playoff spot. The first to score in this game here in the first, and they use the long ball. Brandon Moss.
Dirty old town.
Midwest Eye Center is the leader for eye care in the tri-state area. With 18 convenient locations, our eye doctors are dedicated to delivering you the best eye care available. From state-of-the-art LASIK vision correction to advanced laser-assisted cataract surgery and transformative oculoplastic procedures, our doctors and staff are committed to making sure you can enjoy life to the fullest with healthy eyes and amazing vision. To schedule your appointment today, visit us online at MidwestEyeCenter.com.
Dirty old town. Dirty old town.
We've always valued the long run. It's why our actively managed funds can help you achieve the goals you have now and the ones you're still imagining. So whether you're investing for your future or theirs, you can bring all of your possibilities into focus.
The A's jump out 2-0. Royals coming to bat. Here's their batting order brought to you by Budweiser. That's Lucas Escobar in the leadoff spot. With Dory Howe second. Lorenzo Kane, the speedy center fielder, hits third. Aaron Hosmer in the cleanup spot. There's Billy Butler. Alex Gordon at two, home runs and RBIs. Salvador Perez, Omar Infante has a career high in RBIs this year. The third baseman is Mike Moustakas. John Lester's on the hill.
Joe said I am
what I forgot to mention about the pitchers, both Lester and Shields, is that they are auditioning for big dollars as free agents if you want a #1 pitcher. This year, maybe his best this year. A lot of losses, but a great ERA. Lots of innings like he always has.
And quickly, he's ahead of Escobar.
Them
No balls and 2 strikes. Ned Yost,
shot you, Joe.
late in the season,
They filled you
swapped the number 1 and 2
full
guys
of
in the order.
Takes more than guns to kill a man, said Joe. And I ain't
Smart,
dead,
the Kansas City office.
said Joe. And I
In a wild
ain't
card game,
dead.
it's Escobar who leads off.
I'm standing
Lester's 252
there,
starts
as
in
big
his major
as
league
life,
career, 116
and smiling
67 losses, but
with
only
his
2-3 at this ballpark.
Joe,
This is a team that swings out of the strike zone a lot. You don't have to throw strikes in your head.
to organize.
And inside, Escobar
Went on to organize.
2 strikes. The thing about Lester also, after the trade deadline deal was made, his first start was against the Kansas City Royals, and he beat them. That's not over there. He had beaten them with the Red Sox in July, wins in Oakland, and then beat them again later in August at Kansas City.
From San Diego,
Mentioned earlier,
to Maine,
they've only beat him 2
from
times in the regular season, both wins by John Lester.
where
On the ground up the middle, off the glove from Jake Lowry, and Escobar is
you'll
on.
find Joe Hill. It's there you'll find Joe Hill. I dreamed I saw
Just a
Joe
cutter
Hill
outside.
last night.
Hit hard up the middle of the plate. It's tough play. Probably has to be really hit.
Said I, but Joe, you're 10 years dead. I never died, said he. I never died, said he.
Do more together this holiday in the Chevy that's right for you. The award-winning Chevy Equinox, the hard-working Chevy Silverado,
In Dublin
the only
City
high-tech
in
Chevy Trax.
1913,
Do
the
more
buses
in a
rich
new Chevy.
and the poor were
Chevrolet,
slaves,
together, let's
the
go.
women working and children starving. And on came Larkin like a mighty wave. The
had to
workers
take an angle
cringed when the
that
busman
ball.
pondered.
That he could
70
throw out of
hours
speed.
was his weekly chore.
That's the advantage of
He asked
having
for
speed,
little,
is that you have
and
to
less
make
was
that
granted.
play
Less
with
was
eye sense.
little, then he'd ask for more.
It is rule to hit, and here's
In the
Aoki.
month of August, the bossman told us no union man for him could work. We stood by Larkin and told the
It's so
bossman
interesting. Ned
we'd
Yost
fight or
told us
die,
before the
but he
game,
wouldn't
if
shirk.
Escobar gets
8
on,
months we fought,
Aoki's
and 8
bunting.
months we
I wouldn't
starved.
think he would
We
bunt with
stood
a
by
2-0
Larkin
deficit, but
through
maybe
thick and
still
thin.
going to play his cards the way he thinks he should.
It broke our hearts. We just couldn't win. Then
Escobar
Larkin
at
left us.
first,
We seemed defeated.
probably Kansas
The night
City's
was
best
black
baseman
for the working man.
and he's stolen
But on came
31 out of
Connolly with new
37.
hope and counsel. His motto was that we'd rise again. In 1916 in Dublin
Behind him,
City,
counted by
the
Oakley.
English soldiers, they burnt our town. They
A lot
shelled
of
our
swings
buildings
up there
and shot
that
our leaders.
A little
The heart was
unorthodox
ready
from time to
leap
time,
from
whatever
the
it
ground.
takes from Aoki to get on.
They shot McDermott and Pearson Plunkett. They shot
Occasionally
McDonough
that batting
and Clark the
stance and
Brave.
swings seems like he
From
keeps swinging
they
and
took
or
their
through the
bodies
strike zone, but he gets it done.
And a quick line brave. But last of all of the 7 heroes, I'll sing the praise of James Connolly. The voice of
Usually
justice,
does not
the
throw
voice
the
of
first,
freedom.
does not
He
have a
gave
great
his life
move,
that man
but
might
is
be
very
free.
quick to the plate.
You might have thought when this one game came up that Derek Norris would be the catcher for the Oakland A's. Swings a good bat, but has trouble throwing runners out. Soto's been much better in that department and thus gets the start against the speedy Royals. On the ground to second, Sogard with the high flip, but they get the out. Dan Isonia is the second base umpire. He took a long look at it. and then made the call. So they get the force, but Aoki reaches on the field his choice.
Well, it's interesting about that play. Sogard is in for his defense, the high toss, maybe a little nerves. Nice play by Lowry, but in the vicinity, I guess, of second base there with the force. I think he got his toe on the base, though.
Here's the center fielder, Lorenzo Cain. 8th in the American League with a 3.01 average. Another guy who can really run.
Throughout human history, innovation is what has propelled society forward, and it is what we need now more than ever. The climate challenges we're facing are significant, and that's why we cannot afford to move backward. So-called natural refrigerants claim to be the universal solution of the future, but don't be fooled. These are the same chemically manufactured industrial gases that were adopted more than a century ago and broadly abandoned for good reason. They pose real risks, from high working pressures and corrosion to flammability, and their performance limitations will only increase dependence on fossil fuels. We can do better. Low global warming potential F-gases and specialty fluids offer an innovative, reliable, and sustainable answer to the hazards and shortcomings of outdated industrial gases. F-gases help advance global climate targets, decarbonization, circularity, and socio-economic value. We're not interested in maintaining the status quo or in retreating to past failed technologies. We invented the F-gas category and have been innovating ever since. We will continue innovating to find the next generation of refrigerant technology because we believe society and future generations deserve better, and we can deliver more together. The world needs F-gases.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
Cal? The distinction needs to be made here. Are you trying to turn the double play, or are you trying to get the force out? Many times you have to make that decision as a shortstop. That one, because the throw was off, you have to make sure you go on the bag, drag that force out, and keep beginning to happen.
In the air to right field, Josh Reddick. Now,
Soto being in the game as a catcher has thrown out 50% of the runners and has a good strong arm. But there's not really that many attempts. I don't think there was any attempts in the Kansas City Royals when they were facing John Lester this year. So it almost seems that if it's John Lester on the mound and there are no attempts, why do you need somebody that can throw?
Remember, Lester had his great success with Oakland this year with one catcher, Derek Norris. He had great success in the postseason last year with one catcher, David Ross.
There's a value to learning. Now, he came over to Oakland. They all learned him really quickly. So who's to say that Soto can't learn him just as quickly? But there is some concern by now that he hasn't caught him. Doesn't know how he thinks, doesn't know what pitches he wants to throw. And maybe doesn't know how to
Eric Hosmer waiting on a 1-0. There goes Aoki. Here's the throw to second, no chance. Aoki actually overslid the bag just a touch, but the throw was offline. There was no chance for Lowry to apply a tag.
Well, you know, all of their stolen base people on this team, he did go past the bag. He's been thrown out 8 times, so he doesn't have a great percentage, but he went on first move, and he guessed right.
Runner in scoring position for the Royals with 2 down. Lester delivers a 2-0, was about to, and then time was called at the very last instant.
Yeah, it's obvious that they're going to use their friend's speed and getting off the base to disrupt some of the timing of John Lester.
Giovanni Soto was arguing with home plate umpire Miller, saying, hey, that's way too late. kind of hurt my pitching call time that late.
But it's dark as the grave
This offense is predicated on making things happen. And Ned Yost is going to make sure that he doesn't vary his plan, even though down 2-0 in the first inning. He's still got to play the game.
So let him swing 3-0. He's going to get a fastball. Let him be aggressive.
Rushed and got up and said,
4-pitch walk. They're at first and second.
water or light or bread.
Interesting to see Soto out talking to Lester. What can you tell Lester about pitching in the postseason that he doesn't know? He's trying to relax his lefty.
How much of this is the first time? He has not caught Lester. And are you totally on the same page?
Well, sometimes you're on the same page. It can be as simple as watching the catcher give those a multitude of signs with a guy on second. Sometimes it takes him longer than the catcher you work with normally. It's the little things like that that can change your tempo. He is a tempo pitcher.
Here's one of the most popular guys wearing the Kansas City uniform. It's Billy Butler.
Imprisoned in the sweet sea. Days passed and the sun rescued, leaving the dead to lie alone. Through all their days they dug a grave. 2 miles of earth is a marking stone. 2 miles of earth is a marking.
Jumping a little bit for Lester here in the first.
Lester pitching on 5 days rest. That's an extra day. You never know for a lot of pitchers, even the great ones, a little strong in that first inning.
6 straight balls since retiring Kane on the fly ball to right.
Just because it's 6 straight balls doesn't mean you should take here.
He does take straight ball. Butler didn't think much of it.
Did not like that call by Bill Miller. What do you think, Cal?
It's a 2-0 cutter, so it's got a little, but it's right on the edge.
Take charge of your drive behind the wheel of the 2024 EV6. The EV6 is a smart and spacious all-electric crossover that can seat up to 5 and will keep you on the move with DC fast charging that lets you go from 10 to 80% charge in just 18 minutes. Plus, the EV6 looks as remarkable as it performs. Make one yours with a fantastic offer during the season of giving back. Click now to view our inventory.
I love in that dear little time in the old country town. It will linger way on in my heart, though it never was grand. Sure, it's my very land. Just a wonderful world set apart. Oh, my eyes and you are
for all good hitters when they're facing good pitchers, pitchers close, they say, don't help him. He doesn't need any help.
They say that because that's exactly what we do.
Little time in the old
with 2 on and 2 out. To left. Base hit. That's going to score a run. And it's going to put runners on the corners with 2 down. Kansas City on the move.
There's a light in my dreams ever calling. There are eyes ever watching for me. There is someone
It's obviously he's coming back inside again. This time Butler's looking for it. What a good swing on the line drive. Maybe lucky it's just a single.
Well, that's why Sam Fuld is in there. One great hitting by Butler, being ready for that pitch in. Fuld is so quick, he's able to keep that ball in play, keep Butler first. keep the force in second.
Here's Alex Gordon.
In my life, though it never was grand.
Royals leader in home runs with 19. RBIs with 74.
Just a wonderful world set apart.
It's a 2-1 game. All 3 runs in with 2 outs.
You are with me, it seems, and I care not for fame or renown.
Another example of Royals baseball. They've been playing behind a lot this year. They still stay to their game. They openly faked the bunt. And his first pitch that he saw in the post, stole the base to set up scoring a run.
Alex Gordon, another one of his home run products. And there is Billy Butler, caught between first and second. Now Hosmer edging away at third, and now they're going to throw to the plate, and Hosmer is out. Billy Butler wandered off first, and it resulted in the third out.
Last night as I lay dreaming of pleasant days gone by.
We need 3 extra players.
Me mind been bent on Rockland to
Hey, Sarah, you want to play cricket?
What about Mike? I said, hey, Mike,
You play cricket?
and I followed with
Is that one more shot? We can use one more. Show.
Life's grander in the first ever Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
It's been on the 23rd of June, the day before the fair, when Ireland's sons and daughters and friends
Butler knocks in a run and then costs him. Hosmer, no chance. It's 2-1.
And the bowl came their duty to fulfill at the Parish Church in
It's Chevy Truck Month. Time when truck guys can depend on great offers on the 2014 North American Truck of the Year, Chevy Silverado. Top of the second, Jed Lowry leads it off.
What they might say.
Bottom of the first
The
inning.
old ones were all dead and gone. The young ones turning gray. But I met the Taylor Quigley.
What do you make of this?
I don't think there was a plan because neither Hosmer or Butler can run. I think Butler's talking to Kuhn saying, hey, if they're playing behind me, should I steal? Should I steal? Well, you never looked at Lester. Lester just stepped off and they made the play. The simplest of plays that maybe work in high school, certainly not supposed to work at this level.
And the putout was made at the plate. So Rusty Coombs, the first base coach, and Billy Butler. Everybody trying to explain exactly what happened.
Well, you definitely don't do something that you don't do normally in the regular season in the playoffs. But there are times when first and third left-handed play will work. I stole my first base in the big leagues on a left-handed play of home. It's against John Matlack. When he takes his eye off of you, you start to run at third, and then he runs over there at first. But on a play where you're just trying to get the run down, you better have some really fast guys that you're going to be able to do that at the big league level. Actually, steal the run. That wasn't the right situation just to get the run down and then try to score a run a la Blue League.
Took the bat out of the hands of their leading home run hitter and RBI guy, and Alex Gordon with runners at first and third.
He was your MVP of the season. We showed the graphic of what he hits with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Everything he does, Infante hitting him on the head like, well, you're going to have a hard time, Billy Butler, explaining that at a coffee shop tomorrow.
I think the logical explanation is that if you're going to play behind him, he doesn't go over here. Just get a running lead and go. But again, asking him to do that when he hasn't done that during the season, that's a risk.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Jed Lowry.
It's early. Not a lot of pitches in the throw. That inside fastball to lefties that Shields usually just sells at. He has not gotten one call or not made one pitch inside yet.
3-2. He turned on that. Look out. Those line drives me, it's you.
My
Nice to see that 95 flash up there on the board.
Look at their control and the type of pitches they throw. Again, they still have a 95.
Hosmer made a nice grab, and Shields made a nice catch. At first, one down. Fourth member of our crew is Matt Weiner. Got the best seat in the house. Matt, what you got?
That's a pretty good one here in the Royal Suite where they're hanging on every pitch, including George Brett, who signed with this organization 2 years after it was born, and he's been here ever since as a Hall of Fame player, as a pivotal piece of that 85 championship team, as an executive, as a coach, etc. You've been a part of this rebuilding process as well. How gratifying is this team tonight?
It's pretty special. For a town to wait 29 years, and when I first signed with the Royals in 71, and then we made the playoffs in I came up in 73, 74, being my first year. You make the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, you think it's going to happen all the time, and it hasn't happened since 85. So very happy for Dayton Long, very happy for Ned Yost and the rest of the coaching staff, and especially all the players down on the field, because they've really worked their tails off and developed into a really good ball.
When in this development process did you think you had a team that could reach this level?
I think last year in the second half of the season, the way they played, they were always kind of just, they had a tough time getting to 500 for a long time, and once they got over 500, they got on a pretty good streak, and all of a sudden last year at the end of the season, I'm saying, these guys aren't that far away, and it was a good experience for them last year to play exciting, pennant contending baseball. They were in it till the last week of the season, and unfortunately Detroit beat us and we lost out the wild card. But I think last year was the first year I really saw these guys, thought these guys were ready to play.
And the organization took a calculated risk in trading prospects to bring back James Shields. Between the innings, the wins, and his presence in the clubhouse, what has he meant the last 2 years?
Well, you can ask Danny Duffy and Ventura about that. He's mentored those guys. And don't forget, we got Wade Davis in that deal also. Had the most incredible year as a reliever I've ever seen. I think he's given up 4 extra base hits all year, ERA of 1. Just been the 8th inning specialist of all time. But James and Wade brought over a looseness, a confidence about them, and it's really rubbed off on the young guys.
By the way, our bosses will be very happy to hear that George spends many of his afternoons watching what network?
TBS, baby.
Because it's...
Yes. Because it's very funny.
There you go. There you have it.
Down earlier, I kind of stunned me.
I tried to lead him right into it.
So
there you have it.
Of such moments.
After all these years. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, the passing tales and glories that once was Dublin town, the hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes that once was Dublin city in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin city in the rare old times. My name it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as could be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, lost out to redundant and sea, like my house that fell to progress, my trade's a memory. And I courted Peggy Dignan, as pretty as you please.
Audible Originals presents How to Lose a Guy Before Christmas, written by A.J. Pine, performed by Andy Arndt and Jason
I
Clark.
lost her to a student chap.
Prologue.
Skin as black as coal.
Lucy Green opened the oversized tin of Christmas cookies from her favorite neighbor while simultaneously boosting the volume on her phone. She was good at multitasking. The meteorologist on the streaming news channel had one mitten gripped firmly around her microphone, while the other held the metal post of a no parking sign outside one of O'Hare Airport's departure terminals with what must have been a death grip. That was, if one could death grip anything while wearing mittens. The National Weather Service is advising people not to travel today if they can avoid it, she yelled over whipping wind and snow that seemed to fall sideways rather than down. But my producer at the station thought it would be a good idea to do a location shoot so you can stay safe and warm in your homes while we show you just how bad it is out here. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Lucy popped a sugar cookie into her mouth. The tin had been full last night, but it definitely wasn't full now. Since the storm started getting progressively worse last night, stress eating cookies while glued to the Weather Channel was the only thing keeping her sane. I'm Sabrina Hale with your local weather on the 8s. We'll be back in 10 minutes to show you that it's still a full-on blizzard outside and that you should stay home. And if anyone is hiring for a desk job that's indoors, find me on LinkedIn. Lucy popped a peppermint cookie covered in red and green sprinkles. Sabrina was obviously having a rough go of it, but that didn't make Lucy feel any better about her situation, which involved her flight being canceled, no flights available until after Christmas, and the trains being shut down as well. She reached into the tin and found nothing but crumbs. First the airport shut down, and now this? Joy to the world, your ride is here. Lucy jumped as her phone erupted into song, loud song, to the tune of the classic Christmas Carol. She checked her screen to find the Joyride banner notification lighting up her phone's screen. Wow, this app went all in on the holiday music and graphics. But at least she had a ride from Chicago to the Twin Cities. When she'd signed up for the rideshare app and immediately got a match, she wasn't entirely sure the car would actually show up. But when she peeked out the living room window of her second-floor Wicker Park one-bedroom, she sighed in relief when she saw the snug-looking two-door hatchback. For the first time since the storm started, she felt like Christmas just might be okay. How she was going to fit a suitcase that she would have otherwise checked at the terminal into that tiny little tin can was another matter. But beggars couldn't be choosers. Whoever this Lucky was, the name posted with the profile picture of a happy golden retriever, they were heading to Lucy's hometown, which was a Christmas miracle. She tugged her favorite green pom-pom beanie over her thick ginger waves. Then she threw on her puffy down parka and tightened the hood. After grabbing her crossbody bag and suitcase, she headed out the door. A couple minutes later, winded from lugging her suitcase down the stairs, she made it outside into the gale force winds and snow that felt like tiny needles pelting her cheeks. All she wanted to do was climb inside the vehicle, but safety first. She squinted against the relentless blizzard until she could confirm the license plate on the vehicle matched the one on the app. Satisfied, she tapped.
There's a silver trace among the gold. They shine upon my brow today. My love, my life is fading fast away. But my darling,
This is Audible.
Lion Crest Publishing presents Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Read by David Goggins and Adam Skolnick.
Life isn't fair. It's not supposed to be. Life is not biased to anyone. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, gay or lesbian, rich or poor. Life doesn't discriminate. Once you accept the fact that life is going to fuck you up in one way or another, you can start preparing for it. The right mindset is everything. It'll be the only thing that will get you through life. Having a can't hurt me mentality will always keep you in the fight. You have to be open-minded enough to believe that whatever life throws at you, you can overcome. What I'm about to do is very uncomfortable for me. I'm used to sharing my story on a very surface level, but for the last 8 months, I drilled deep in my life with Adam, my ghostwriter. I was forced to go back to the sewer where I once lived in my mind. To be honest, writing this book was one of the hardest things I've ever done mentally. Being completely vulnerable and exposed are some of the hardest things a person can ever do. We all have a story. You are all about to hear mine. Life isn't always fun, so how I talk about my life is raw, real, and authentic. I was the ultimate underdog. I was the weakest one of the litter. Knowing that, I had to figure out a way to survive and ultimately thrive. Back then, there was no talk about mental toughness. That shit didn't even exist. You just had to figure shit out. I realized at a very young age, I was fucked. And I had a very long and hard road to hoe without any tools. I wanted to give up more times than I could count, but that voice in my head wouldn't allow me. Being at a disadvantage forced me to create an indestructible mental toolbox, one I couldn't get from theory. It would have to come from practice and repetition. I had no peace in my life because I was living a lie. I didn't want people to know the real me. No one wants to tell people they are insecure and afraid. I realized for me to find peace, I'd have to face my fucked up life and fix it alone. No one was coming to save me. I didn't want money, fame, awards, or even a pat on the fucking back. I was looking for self-fulfillment. I was looking for it everywhere. I realized I couldn't find it from an outside source. It would have to come from within. And to find it, I'd have to be willing to go to war with myself. One thing I figured out along my journey is that you have to believe you are here for a reason, not just floating around willy-nilly. I believe the reason I was put here was to unlock the codes to human potential, to tell the world you can be born in a fucking sewer and still be the baddest motherfucker on earth. Just remember one thing. Once you climb out of the sewer and are standing on the road, look around and take pride in the fact that nothing can hurt you.
Man, I cannot wait to get into this right now, man. I'm so happy to be here.
It's been a long time coming, Adam. We put a lot of hours behind this. About what, 8 months?
Yeah, at least. I think we first contacted, about almost a year ago now.
Well, I'm excited, man. What we're about to do is something I don't believe has ever been done before in the audiobook world. We're going to do an audiobook / podcast / radio show. So we'll see how it turns out.
Project /. And so my name's Adam Skolnick. I helped David get this book on paper. It's been a labor of love, but it's also been really challenged because this life, to be able to put this life in stark relief for everyone to see and understand and absorb, it's not an easy process for you.
No, not at all. It was the hardest thing I've done, like I said, mentally in my entire life. To have to drill down deep in my life and go straight from the surface and go way deep to the sewer where I once lived. You don't want to go back there. Once you kind of go back and figure it out and overcome things, I didn't want to revisit that place. And doing this book made me, revisit it. And also now I'm telling people my life, people I don't even know. So that's even harder.
And you asked me to read this because you wanted to universalize your story, because this is not about, hero worship for David Goggins. This is about something else, right?
No, this isn't about me. And I'm not the hero here. You are the hero. So that's why I'm not reading this book. This book, yes, this is my life. But once again, I'm not the hero. The hero is you.
So we're going to get into it now. There's 11 chapters in this book, and in between are 10 challenges. The principles that David outlines in his book are then encapsulated in these challenges for you listeners to be able to apply them to your life. And that's the whole point of this book. Like we were just saying, it's all about creating a toolbox for you listeners to then apply to your life. And the motivation will, of course, come from David's amazing life story. Anything else you want to say to prep these guys for what's about to happen?
Yes, like I said in my small and brief introduction, was, basically, this is about a habit. There was no mental toughness class when I was growing up. I had to figure out an indestructible toolbox to get through my life. And what I figured out along the way is your mind has the tactical advantage over you. And that's what I'm trying to fix here for everybody listening to this. Your mind has a tactical advantage. So what do I mean there? What I mean is your mind knows your insecurities, it knows your fears, and your mind can only process so much. And all that stuff that takes a long time to process, it starts to filter out. So what that means is pain, insecurities, fear, it wants to get rid of it. It doesn't want to face it. That's a challenge that the mind has no time for. So these tools are going to teach you to start facing your fears, start tripling down on your insecurities, tripling down on your fears, tripling down on your weaknesses, tripling down on being uncomfortable. And that's where you start becoming just mentally tough. That's where it happens.
And it comes from ownership of your life completely.
And that's exactly what I'm doing here. And that is the hardest part about my story, Adam, is for me to set the example. I have to put all of my shit out there for everyone to see. I have to own my life.
When writing out, he was careful to suggest that if they found a hat
situation, you are in danger of living a life so comfortable and soft that you will die without ever realizing your true potential. Mission: to unshackle your mind, ditch your victim's mentality forever, own all aspects of your life completely, build an unbreakable foundation. Execution: read this cover to cover. Study the techniques within. Accept all 10 challenges. Repeat. Repetition will callous your mind. If you do your job to the best of your ability, this will hurt. This mission is not about making yourself feel better. This mission is about being better and having a greater impact on the world. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Classified. This is an origin story of a hero. The hero is you.
Introduction. Do you know who you really are and what you're capable of? I'm sure you think so, but just because you believe something doesn't make it true. Denial is the ultimate comfort zone. Don't worry, you aren't alone. In every town, in every country, all over the world, millions roam the streets, dead-eyed as zombies, addicted to comfort, embracing a victim's mentality, and unaware of their true potential. I know this because I meet and hear from them all the time, and because just like you, I used to be one of them. I had a damn good excuse too. Life dealt me a bad hand. I was born broken, grew up with beatdowns, was tormented in school, and called nigger more times than I can count. We were once poor, surviving on welfare, living in government-subsidized housing, and my depression was smothering. I lived life at the bottom of the barrel, and my future forecast was bleak as fuck. Very few people know how the bottom feels, but I do. It's like quicksand. It grabs you, sucks you under, and won't let go. When life is like that, it's easy to drift and continue to make the same comfortable choices that are killing you over and over again. But the truth is, we all make habitual, self-limiting choices. It's as natural as a sunset and as fundamental as gravity. It's how our brains are wired, which is why motivation is crap. Even the best pep talk or self-help hack is nothing but a temporary fix. It won't rewire your brain. It won't amplify your voice or uplift your life. Motivation changes exactly nobody. The bad hand that was my life was mine, and mine alone to fix. So I sought out pain, fell in love with suffering, and eventually transformed myself from the weakest piece of shit on the planet into the hardest man God ever created. Or so I tell myself. Odds are you have had a much better childhood than I did, and even now might have a damn decent life. But no matter who you are, who your parents are or were, where you live, what you do for a living, or how much money you have, you're probably living at about 40% of your true capability. Damn shame. We all have the potential to be so much more. Years ago, I was invited to be on a panel at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I'd never set foot in a university lecture hall as a student. I barely graduated high school. Yet I was at one of the most prestigious institutions in the country to discuss mental toughness with a handful of others. At some point in the discussion, an esteemed MIT professor said that we each have genetic limitations, hard ceilings, that there are some things we just can't do, no matter how mentally tough we are. When we hit our genetic ceiling, he said, mental toughness doesn't enter into the equation. Everyone in that room seemed to accept his version of reality, because this senior, tenured professor was known for researching mental toughness. It was his life's work. It was also a bunch of bullshit. And to me, he was using science to let us all off the hook. I'd been quiet until then, because I was surrounded by all these smart people feeling stupid. But someone in the audience noticed the look on my face and asked if I agreed. And if you ask me a direct question, I won't be shy. There's something to be said for living it instead of studying it, I said, then turned toward the professor. What you said is true for most people, but not 100%. There will always be the 1% of us who are willing to put in the work, to defy the odds. I went on to explain what I knew from experience, that anybody can become a totally different person and achieve what so-called experts like him claim is impossible. But it takes a lot of heart, will, and an armored mind. Heraclitus, a philosopher born in the Persian Empire back in the 5th century BC, had it right when he wrote about men on the battlefield. Out of every 100 men, he wrote, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, for they make the battle. Ah, but the one. One is a warrior. From the time you take your first breath, you become eligible to die. You also become eligible to find your greatness and become the one warrior. But it is up to you to equip yourself for the battle ahead. Only you can master your mind, which is what it takes to live a bold life filled with accomplishments most people consider beyond their capability. I am not a genius like those professors at MIT, but I am that one warrior. And the story you are about to hear, the story of my fucked up life, will illuminate a proven path to self-mastery and empower you to face reality. Hold yourself accountable, push past pain, learn to love what you fear, relish failure, live to your fullest potential, and find out who you really are. Human beings change through study, habit, and stories. Through my story, you will learn what the body and mind are capable of when they're driven to maximum capacity and how to get there. Because when you're driven, whatever's in front of you, whether it's racism, sexism, injuries, divorce, depression, obesity, tragedy, or poverty, becomes fuel for your metamorphosis. The steps laid out here amount to the evolutionary algorithm, one that obliterates barriers, glimmers with glory, and delivers lasting peace. I hope you're ready. It's time to go to war with yourself. Anything to add here, David?
I hope this story doesn't motivate you. I know a lot of you are thinking, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
the seas are
Motivation is crap. Why do I say that? It comes and it goes. You're very motivated on those days when your life is perfect. When the sun is out, when the bills are paid, when the wife or husband, everything's in its right place. That's when most of us are nice and motivated. So it comes and goes. Let's say right now you read this book and you find motivation from this book, and you're living in Chicago. Let's say it's December in Chicago. Chicago in December time is real cold, and you're motivated to go out for a 2-mile run. You open that door, and that wind chill hits your face. If you're motivated, you're gonna shut that door and go back and sit down on that couch and watch TV. Those people who find more than motivation from this, maybe a little drive, or maybe even a little obsession to change their life. When they open that door and that wind chill hits their face, they're gonna close it just to go back to their closet and put warm clothes on so they can go back out there and tackle whatever's in front of them. When you're driven and obsessed, you no longer care what's in front of you. If your bills aren't paid because you can't figure out a way to do it, if your life isn't perfect, it doesn't matter. You realize that's just life. It's not going to be perfect, but that's not going to derail me from what I have to do to get better.
Chapter 1. I should have been a statistic. We found hell in a beautiful neighborhood. In 1981, Williamsville offered the tastiest real estate in Buffalo, New York. Leafy and friendly, its safe streets were dotted with dainty homes filled with model citizens. Doctors, attorneys, steel plant executives, dentists, and professional football players lived there, with their adoring wives and their 2.2 kids. Cars were new, roads swept, possibilities endless. We're talking about a living, breathing American dream. Hell was a corner lot on Paradise Road. That's where we lived, in a 2-story, 4-bedroom, white wooden home with 4 square pillars framing a front porch that led to the widest, greenest lawn in Williamsville. We had a vegetable garden out back, and a 2-car garage stocked with a 1962 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud, a 1980 Mercedes 450 SLC, and in the driveway was a sparkling new 1981 black Corvette. Everyone on Paradise Road lived near the top of the food chain. And based on appearances, most of our neighbors thought that we, the so-called happy, well-adjusted Goggins family, were the tip of that spear. But glossy surfaces reflect much more than they reveal. They'd see us most weekday mornings gathered in the driveway at 7 a.m. My dad, Trunis Goggins, wasn't tall, but he was handsome and built like a boxer. He wore tailored suits, his smile warm and open. He looked every bit the successful businessman on his way to work. My mother, Jackie, was 17 years younger, slender and beautiful, and my brother and I were clean-cut, well-dressed in jeans and pastel-ized odd shirts, and strapped with backpacks just like the other kids, the white kids. In our version of affluent America, each driveway was a staging ground for nods and waves before parents and children rode off to work and school. Neighbors saw what they wanted. Nobody probed too deep. Good thing. The truth was, the Goggins family had just returned home from another all-nighter in the hood. And if Paradise Road was hell, that meant I lived with the devil himself. As soon as our neighbors shut the door or turned the corner, my father's smile morphed into a scowl. He barked orders and went inside to sleep another one off, but our work wasn't done. My brother, Trunis Jr., and I had somewhere to be, and it was up to our sleepless mother to get us there. I was in first grade in 1981, and I was in a school daze for real. Not because the academics were hard, at least not yet, but because I couldn't stay awake. The teacher's sing-song voice was my lullaby, my crossed arms on my desk a comfy pillow, and her sharp words, once she caught me dreaming, an unwelcome alarm clock that wouldn't stop blaring. Children that young are infinite sponges. They soak up language and ideas at warp speed to establish a fundamental foundation upon which most people build lifelong skills, like reading and spelling and basic math. But because I worked nights, I couldn't concentrate on anything most mornings, except trying to stay awake. Recess and PE were a whole different minefield. Out on the playground, staying lucid was the easy part. The hard part was the hiding. Couldn't let my shirt slip. Couldn't wear shorts. Bruises were red flags I couldn't show because if I did, I knew I'd catch even more. Still, on that playground, in the classroom, I knew I was safe. For a little while, at least. It was the one place he couldn't reach me. At least not physically. My brother went through a similar dance in 6th grade. His first year in middle school. He had his own wounds to hide and sleep to harvest. Because once that bell rang, real life began. The ride from Williamsville to the Maston district in East Buffalo took about a half an hour, but it may as well have been a world away. Like much of East Buffalo, Maston was a mostly black working-class neighborhood in the inner city that was rough around the edges. Though, in the early 1980s, it was not yet completely ghetto as fuck. Back then, the Bethlehem steel plant was still humming, and Buffalo was the last great American steel town. Most men in the city, black and white, worked solid union jobs and earned a living wage, which meant business in Maston was good. For my dad, it always had been. By the time he was 20 years old, he owned a Coca-Cola distribution concession and 4 delivery routes in the Buffalo area. That's good money for a kid, but he had bigger dreams and an eye on the future. His future had 4 wheels and a disco-funk soundtrack. When a local bakery shut down, he leased the building and built one of Buffalo's first roller skating rinks. Fast forward 10 years and Skateland had been relocated to a building on Ferry Street that stretched nearly a full block in the heart of the Maston district. He opened a bar above the rink, which he named the Vermilion Room. In the 1970s, that was the place to be in East Buffalo. And it's where he met my mother when she was just 19. He was 36. It was her first time away from home. Jackie grew up in the Catholic Church. Trunis was the son of a minister and knew her language well enough to masquerade as a believer, which appealed to her. But let's keep it real. She was just as drunk on his charm. Trunis Jr. was born in 1971. I was born in 1975, and by the time I was 6 years old, the roller disco craze was at its absolute peak. Skateland rocked every night. We usually get there around 5 p.m., and while my brother worked the concession stand, popping corn, grilling hot dogs, loading the cooler, and making pizzas, I organized the skates by size and style. Each afternoon, I stood on a step stool to spray my stock with aerosol deodorizer and replace the rubber stoppers. That aerosol stink would cloud all around my head and live in my nostrils. My eyes looked permanently bloodshot. It was the only thing I could smell for hours. But those were the distractions I had to ignore to stay organized and on hustle. Because my dad, who worked the DJ booth, was always watching. And if any of those skates went missing, it meant my ass. Before the doors opened, I'd polish the skate rink floor with a dust mop that was twice my size. At around 6 p.m., my mother called us to dinner in the back office. That woman lived in a permanent state of denial. But her maternal instinct was real, and it made a big fucking show of itself, grasping for any shred of normalcy. Every night in that office, she'd set out 2 electric burners on the floor, sit with her legs curled behind her, and prepare a full dinner. Roast meat, potatoes, green beans, and dinner rolls, while my dad did the books and made calls. The food was good, but even at 6 and 7 years old, I knew our family dinner was a bullshit facsimile compared to what most families had. Plus, we ate fast. There was no time to enjoy it because at 7 p.m. when the doors opened, it was showtime, and we all had to be in our places with our stations prepped. My dad was the sheriff, and once he stepped into the DJ booth, he had us triangulated. He scanned that room like an all-seeing eye, and if you fucked up, you'd hear about it, unless you felt it first. The room didn't look like much under the harsh overhead house lights, but once he dimmed them, the show lights bathed the rink in red and glanced off the spinning mirror ball, conjuring a skate disco fantasy. Weekend or weeknight, hundreds of skaters piled through that door. Most of the time, they came in as a family, paying their $3 entrance fee and $50 skate fee before hitting the floor. I rented out the skates and managed that entire station by myself. I carried that step stool around like a crutch. Without it, the customers couldn't even see me. The bigger size skates were down below the counter, but the smaller sizes were stored so high I'd have to scale the shelves, which always made the customers laugh. Mom was the one and only cashier. She collected everyone's cover charge, and to Trunis, money was everything. He counted the people as they came in, calculating his take in real time, so he had a rough idea of what to expect when he counted out the register after we closed up, and it had better all be there. All the money was his. The rest of us never earned a cent for our sweat. In fact, my mother was never given any money of her own. She had no bank account or credit cards in her name. He controlled everything, and we all knew what would happen if her cash drawer ever came up short. None of the customers who came through our doors knew any of this, of course. To them, Skateland was a family-owned and operated dream cloud. My dad spun the fading vinyl echoes of disco and funk and the early rumbles of hip-hop. Bass bounced off the red walls courtesy of Buffalo's favorite son, Rick James, George Clinton's Funkadelic, and the first tracks ever released by hip-hop innovators Run DMC. Some of the kids were speed skating. I liked to go fast too, but we had our share of skate dancers, and that floor got funky. For the first hour or two, the parents stayed downstairs and skated, or watched their kids spin the oval. But they would eventually leak upstairs to make their own scene, and when enough of them made their move, Trunis slipped out of the DJ booth so he could join them. My dad was considered the unofficial mayor of Maston, and he was a phony politician to the core. His customers were his marks, and what they didn't know was that no matter how many drinks he poured on the house and bro hugs he shared, he didn't give a fuck about any of them. They were all dollar signs to him. If he poured you a drink for free, it was because he knew you would buy 2 or 3 more. While we had our share of all-night skates and 24-hour skate marathons, the Skateland doors typically closed at 10 p.m. That's when my mother, brother, and I went to work fishing bloody tampons out of shit-filled toilets, airing the lingering cannabis haze out of both bathrooms, scraping bacteria-loaded gum off the rink floor, cleaning the concession kitchen, and taking inventory. Just before midnight, we'd slog into the office, half dead. Our mother would tuck in my brother and me beneath a blanket on the office sofa, our heads opposite one another, as the ceiling shook with the sound of bass-heavy funk. Mom was still on the clock. As soon as she stepped inside the bar, Trunis had her working the door or hustling downstairs like a booze mule to fetch cases of liquor from the basement. There was always some menial task to perform, and she didn't stop moving, while my father kept watch from his corner of the bar, where he could take in the whole scene. In those days, Rick James, a Buffalo native and one of my father's closest friends, stopped by whenever he was in town, parking his Excalibur on the sidewalk out front. His car was a billboard that let the hood know a super freak was in the house. He wasn't the only celebrity that came through. O.J. Simpson was one of the NFL's biggest stars, and he and his Buffalo Bills teammates were regulars, as was Teddy Pendergrass and Sister Sledge. If you don't know the names, look them up. Maybe if I had been older, or my father had been a good man, I might have had some pride in being part of a cultural moment like that. But young kids aren't about that life. It's almost like, no matter who our parents are and what they do, we're all born with a moral compass that's properly tuned. When you're 6, 7, or 8 years old, you know what feels right and what feels way the fuck off. And when you are born into a cyclone of terror and pain, you know it doesn't have to be that way. And that truth nags at you, like a splinter in your jacked up mind. You can choose to ignore it, but the dull throbbing is always there, as the days and nights bleed together into one blurred memory. Some moments do stick out though, and one I'm thinking of right now still haunts me. That was the night my mom stepped into the bar before she was expected, and found my dad sweet-talking a woman about 10 years her junior. Trunis saw her watching, and shrugged while my mother eyeballed him and slugged 2 shots of Johnny Walker Red to calm her nerves. He noticed her reaction and didn't like it one damn bit. She knew how things were, that Trunis ran prostitutes across the border to Fort Erie in Canada. A summer cottage belonging to the president of one of Buffalo's biggest banks doubled as his pop-up brothel. He introduced Buffalo bankers to his girls whenever he needed a longer line of credit, and those loans always came through. My mom knew the young woman she was watching was one of the girls in his stable. She'd seen her before. Once she walked in on them fucking on the Skateland office sofa, where she tucked her children in damn near every night. When she found them together, the woman smiled at her. Trunis shrugged. No, my mom wasn't clueless, but seeing it with her own eyes always burned. Around midnight, my mother drove with one of our security guards to
was the loveliest of the throng. Oh, brave, brave Irish girls, we well may call you brave. Sure the least of all your perils is the stormy ocean wave. When you leave your quiet valleys and cross the Atlantic foam to board your hard-won earnings for the helpless ones at home. Write a word to my own mother, say we'll meet with God above, and tell my little brothers I send them all my love. May angels ever garnish their dying sister's grave, and folded in the letter was a braid of nut brown
Hey, more beasts feeling under the mice were squealing in my prison cell, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. To begin the morning, a screw was falling. Get up, get those young king up yourself, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. The lights were sleeping, Humpty Gussie was creeping as I lay there weeping for my gal's son, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. Up in the fields there are 75 women. 'Tis among them I wish I'd been. And the old triangle could go jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. All along the banks of the Royal Canal.